Earlier this year, I was gifted a lovely, simple embroidery kit from my lovely mother. It seems that today is the day for finishing projects I have been meaning to finish. I thought it appropriate to try to finish this today while I'm answering some of your questions. I asked on Instagram a while ago what your questions were, and quite a few of the questions are ones that I've already answered in previous Q&A videos, so I will link those down below. Hopefully you can get a cup of tea and enjoy this cozy little chat along with me. I appreciate your understanding. This week my video is a little bit shorter. I am very tired, and so I am doing my best to hold on. My cat is a embroidery thread enthusiast, so you will probably see her joining me shortly. I wanted to begin. Several people asked how married life is going now that we have recently celebrated. Now that we recently got to 1.5 years since we got married. I think we'll be 2 years next May. It is going very well. I think it is such an interesting process. Learning how to coexist with another individual, learning not only how they think and their lifestyle preferences, but also how to communicate effectively. Luke and I care a lot about our communication to be very authentic and straightforward. I think that's one of the most important things we've worked on. Learning how to really connect with another person and communicate in ways that both of us understand can be sometimes a very tiring process, but if you really keep going at it and there is mutual respect and mutual willingness to understand the other person's point of view, I think that it can be so incredibly productive. Like every single couple, we have experienced challenges together, but we are getting through them really well, and so far it has been a very rewarding experience, and we are also looking forward to raising a child together as a very team effort. One of the reasons I fell in love with Luke is that he is a very compassionate, very gentle soul. He grounds me in the ways that my artist self needs to be grounded. He also says that I complement him with my own creativity and my ability to think in new ways. We certainly complement each other, and that has been a really fruitful part of marriage. As for relationship advice, I got quite a few questions of that. I by no means feel like an expert. Luke and I have been together for about 5 years now, and I definitely don't consider myself an expert at all. However, coming from a past of experiencing some very abusive relationships and moving through them, I would certainly say that the most important thing is to feel safe and respected around your partner. For me personally, I won't speak for everyone, but for me personally, if you don't feel safe and you don't feel respected as a person, you don't feel like what you say is respected or who you are is respected. I've never had a relationship be able to function or thrive if those things are not met. And that also means that I need to provide that same respect and kindness to the other person. Inevitably, any sort of relationship, you will run into differences of opinion and sometimes friction. And I think that if you're able to navigate those things without hurting the other person through words and communication, I think that is a recipe for success. But I also know from my personal experience, if you want to have a respectful and compassionate and kind relationship, you also have to believe that you are worthy of receiving that sort of respect and that kindness and demanding it and accepting nothing less. And that is not easy to do. I think that if you do have that strong foundation of mutual respect and kindness, I feel like a lot of people can thrive in a relationship, even if they do have differences. Apart from that, I think something specifically for Luke and I, since we're two quite introverted people, one very helpful thing for us is to do activities together and spend quality time together, as well as spend quality time apart. There are many days where I am in my artist studio working on a painting, and he may be working outside on a woodworking project, and we might spend an afternoon like that. And I think that's a really positive thing. I think it's a really good thing for us to have our independent interests, but also share a lot of mutual time together as well. Another question I got quite often was, why did I decide to become a mother? And that one got me thinking for quite a while. I completely respect and understand that parenthood is not for everyone, and that is completely okay. For me personally, I have always found children to be some of the most fascinating people on the planet, especially when they're quite young. They are not self-conscious about being who they are and expressing themselves, and seeing someone experience the world anew, to have all that magic and wonder that I got to enjoy as I was a child, is such a special gift to witness it happening in a little human who is growing up and trying to understand and make sense of the world and find their place in it. I find that process to be absolutely fascinating, and that also stems from my years as a preschool teacher. I find little humans to be so interesting, and I love talking with them and spending time with them. And I'm so excited to see what type of adult they will eventually become. It is so interesting. There's so many personalities out there, so many ways of seeing the world. And I don't have any strong opinion on who my child needs to grow up to be. I'm just so happy to see them thrive and find a way to navigate this world and see who they become and support them along the way. Another question I got is what artists inspire my own art. I'm gonna completely forget their names now, so I am going to list them here. They are all incredible artists that I take a lot of inspiration from, that do amazing work. However, I have to admit, I had the gift of having an absolutely incredible art teacher growing up that always encouraged me to look at other artists, but to really embrace my own desires and my own art style and what I love to do. And I think that that's something that has extremely benefited me. It keeps me from comparing and being too critical of myself. It has helped me embrace my art style and really made me proud of the work I do. Even though it might not be the best work out there, it is mine and it is unique to me, and that means so much. I don't do any sponsorships on my channel, and I also don't run ads in the middle of my videos, and so even though I am happy with that decision, I definitely rely on my Etsy shop to make making these videos worthwhile. Another question that I got very often was if I will be sharing my child online once the baby is born, and I definitely will not be doing that. You may see a little hand or a foot or a shape of a child, but I definitely will not be sharing my child's face. For me personally, that is what I'm comfortable with. I think with a baby so young who has no idea what it means to be online and to have their likeness online and all that is just not my cup of tea for my own family. It is a personal choice for everyone, and that is just mine. So I appreciate you understanding. I know not everyone will be happy with that, but I hope you understand it is for my own sense of privacy and so that I'm most comfortable. Another question I got a couple times was, how do you deal with regret at your life choices or not feeling happy with where you are at this time? I think every case is so individual, but I would say that every chapter of your life can be a step forward and a step in a new direction. I think one thing that helped me in regards to my life when I was looking back on some very negative relationships I have that left a lot of very difficult memories to deal with was that over time I started to come to understand that even though those experiences were painful, they did partly influence who I am now. And I like to think in a very positive way, because even though I would never want to go back and experience those things again, I came to a point that I decided to not let those people of my past, those decisions of the past, hold any more power over me. One helpful question I would always ask myself in terms of my thoughts and how I was feeling and how I was thinking about memories or what my interior dialogue was in general was, are you helping or hindering your journey forward? And very often, a lot of my interior dialogue and a lot of my focus on the past and mistakes I made was only hindering my journey, because it was holding me back from embracing a new beginning, a new life, and forgiving myself, accepting that I did the best I could at the time with the resources I had available to me. And that is the most I can expect from my past self, and that's the most I would expect from anyone. I need to hold myself to the same standard of compassion and kindness I hold other people. And that leads into my other question about dealing with stress and anxiety and anxious thoughts. One phrase that really helped me was observe don't absorb, and that is easier said than done, but when you can slowly train yourself to learn how to observe your feelings, accept them, not try to judge them or become angry at them, over time, through practicing meditation and mindfulness and focusing my thoughts in the present, in what I'm doing, I found that slowly working towards being very meditative, mindful, learning how to focus my thoughts on the present, I learned to practice observing my emotions, not absorbing my emotions. I have learned slowly to become someone who sees their emotions, honors them, accepts them, but is not someone that is going to deeply judge them, become angry at themselves for feeling them, try really hard to suppress them or run away from them. Instead, just be there and accept them and do your best to stay in the present and stay mindful. I have found meditating and journaling and really hyping yourself up to believe in your ability to change. Rewiring your brain is a very real thing. Neuroplasticity is a real thing. All these incredible studies have shown us that we can change the way we think, and we do not have to always be a slave to our anxiety. We can make change, but we need to believe in our ability to do it, and that is the crucial first step. And then I found through my journey, you have to be patient because there is no quick fix. You need to dedicate yourself to every day working on being present, on being in the moment, to not let your thoughts run away and fall down a rabbit hole and lead to a bunch more of anxiety. It takes time, and it's going to take many ups and downs. It's a lifetime journey, and I can guarantee you it is so fulfilling. I understand this path is not for everyone and not everyone is open to this, but for me personally, embracing my more spiritual side, believing in something bigger than myself, it was so crucial for me. And I understand that's not part of everyone's journey, but I thought I'd share that it was part of mine and it made a huge difference. Another question I got, which made me giggle a little bit, was how do you stay so healthy and active because you seem to be such a fit and athletic person? And I have to admit, I appreciate the question, but I am not an athletic person. I am not gifted with athletics. I am not a very physically talented person when it comes to a lot of outdoor recreational activities. But yes, I think this is a good reminder that your physical appearance does not always necessarily reflect your health, and I think that's a great thing to keep in mind. Another question I get so often, so I just thought I'd answer it really quickly, is advice on homesteading. I am not a homesteader. I think that is a very common misconception. I do have a garden. I garden, but I do not homestead. I have several jobs. I work full-time. I just don't have the time and ability to put into doing a project like that. I could not afford to take that time off of work in order to fund a project like that. I know that there are, I'm sure, many people who are able to do something like that, and they do it quite creatively and they find ways to save a lot of money. But to have the ability to fund setting all that up in the first place is a huge endeavor, and it takes a lot of time and energy, and it's not something that I can do at all. I live in a high desert region. We have a lot of concerns about water usage and water rights. To grow a large amount of food and to have livestock and all that would be quite expensive in terms of water. I live in an HOA. There are many restrictions, so I'm a boring, slightly unadventurous little cottage fairy who just spends their time working and puttering about their little garden and their home, and I am not capable of doing an enormous operation of that sort. I had quite a few questions asking how I've changed since I've started this channel, and I cannot even begin to say I've changed so much as a person. I barely recognize who I was starting this channel, and I think that's a really wonderful thing. It is such an incredibly fruitful journey I've been on, and I couldn't be more grateful for YouTube for also encouraging me to go on that journey. Well then, I have made very little progress on this embroidery project, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and listen to an audiobook and work on this for a few more hours. It is so relaxing to work on projects like these. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. and I appreciate you so much for being here. Thank you so much for spending a cozy afternoon chatting with me. I hope you enjoyed this little video. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. I'm sending you so much love and well wishes for a wonderful holiday season, for an incredible new year. Sending you so many blessings, so much love, and I will see you very, very soon. Goodbye.